relationship paradigm. Though, admittedly, everything that you all spoke is true. But if we were to like kind of narrow it down onto the relationship scenario, then there are probably 3 distinct categories which require some attention. Oh yes, let's acknowledge Ascension, since that's a part and parcel of this whole talk. How many of you are tuned into Ascension or have heard about this? Heard about it somewhat? Okay, so then we don't need to get into Ascension really too much. It's a shift which is coming up, and it's a shift leading to what many people are talking of, completion at several levels. It's a very hotly debated topic these days, and if you go onto the net and type 2012 or you type Ascension, you'll get volumes and volumes and websites on DNA activation and the crystalline state and so on and so forth. But if I want to summarize that, we're talking of a shift in human consciousness, a very powerful and a dramatic shift, which is very encompassing in everything that it does. And hence this theme of love in the time of Ascension. So if we were to come back to this relationship issue, what we can observe is there are 3 definite and distinct categories which we need to touch on. One is a category of relationships where the going was good once upon a time. It added value to your life. And now it's in this state where it's probably causing pain. Deep down, at a core level, you understand that it's over. You understand this, okay? But yet, this is one category. But yet, there is so much of pain associated with it that it's actually difficult to just come out clean. This is one state of relationships that we need to look at. The second state of relationships is a relationship where you know you have an extremely intimate connection with this person. And it's a connection which defies logic. There is pain, there is pleasure, there are good moments, there are bad moments. And yet something inside tells you that I don't know why, but this is a long-term situation. This is not something which has come into my life today and will exit out of my life tomorrow. And I'm sure each one of us probably has experienced a relationship like that, which goes beyond the mundane. And the third category is people who are still looking for a relationship, have not really either experienced one or are in the indeterminate zone of being neither here nor there. So let's start with the first one. The category where once upon a time life was good, lot of value add, and inexorably there is pain and a deeper situation which tells you that you need to get out. But either your ego isn't letting you get out, or just the pain is just keeping you there. And there are quite a few people who are in that state. So let's actually understand what's happening here. Because if the people were truly rotten, first and foremost, there are no rotten people. There are only fantastic people all the time who are stuck in the wrong associations. Okay, there's no such thing as a bad person in this universe. Everybody is fantastic. It's just that sometimes we get the wires wrong. So they get into wrong associations. So best friends don't necessarily make the best partners, and best partners are not necessarily your best friends. Okay? So understanding that, obviously at some point of time, if you were drawn to a certain person in your life, felt good. Now understanding Ascension, there's probably a karmic debt that the person was meant to discharge for you, or you were meant to discharge that debt to that person. And since Ascension is on hand, time is keeping a close watch. It's keeping an extremely close watch on every single interaction that you are getting into. Because the idea of 2012 and beyond is to be in a state of completion with and by yourself. And so here is this person who came into your life because there was a debt to be discharged. The debt is now discharged, and unfortunately, the ego thinks it's played its part out. And this is the moment when suddenly, without you understanding it or realizing it, things start going wrong. The person hasn't changed. You haven't changed. But suddenly something starts going wrong. And after that, in spite of your best efforts, because I truly believe that as humans we cannot say this. Nobody is here to deliberately go and cause pain to the other person and seek pleasure out of the pain that is inflicted on others. And in spite of your best efforts to keep this going well, somehow the only result it keeps throwing up is pain. Has anybody experienced that here? Yes. Okay. Sure. In my understanding, in our evolution, we have all experienced it at some point of time or the other. Perhaps we've moved beyond it. Okay. Perhaps some of us are in it at the moment. Pain is the universe talking to you.
Can I just ask something? Sorry. When you're talking about love and all that, I'm thinking about my children. And you can't just... You see what I mean? It's
Absolutely. So in a while, I'm going to bring in a different dimension to love. But when I threw it open first, a lot of talk that I sensed came from the relationship paradigm. So in about 15 to 20 minutes, half an hour, we'll move into a different understanding.
Thank you.
Okay. Because you can even completely love your profession. Or your children for that matter. But that's a different take, and I'll come to that in a while, when we start seeing love as a much bigger entity. But let's start from here. So here is a situation where a part of you needs to get out, unable to do it, and there is pain. And that pain is universal wisdom communicating with you. It's communicating with you, trying to tell you that, Jack, the debt is discharged. You need to master the art of releasing with peace and love. The person came into your life for a specific purpose, maybe to heal himself or herself. Probably also healed you or her in the bargain, which were the great moments of your life. And now, it's probably time to say bye-bye. But unfortunately, the human mind is the biggest monkey created in history. Now, if you go to Africa, the Africans have a very fantastic way of catching monkeys. Anybody has any idea of how Africans catch monkeys? Well, they take these jars which have extremely narrow necks and they put bananas into those jars. Seriously. And then you have these monkeys who see the bananas. So in goes the hand, it catches the banana, and now the hand is stuck because it can't come out with the banana. And all the monkey needs to do is to drop the banana. But the monkey will not do it. The monkey will just not do it, and that's exactly what our ego does. So we've got this relationship like a banana, and sure, we have very pleasant associations with bananas at all levels. Okay? But then when you need to let it go, you need to let it go. That's it. You just need to drop it. And strangely, at an inner level, you can sense this. Okay. An extremely good thought to work with is getting into a position where you keep forgiving that person, because after love, the pain which comes invariably invites anger. And the easiest way to get out of that is to just forgive this person and say, well, I release you painlessly with love and peace. And before you know it, a couple of deep breaths, the person will slowly ease out of your life. But needs to be done. Needs to be done.